Joey Catherine Ham, Brian Wilson, Brian Neiman, today's newsmakers, and you. The Morning Majority, 630. WMAL.
8:38 on WMAL. Douglas Holtz-Eakin joins us. He is economist, former Congressional Budget Office Director under President Bush and president of American Action Forum. Doug, we've been talking a lot this morning about this new proposal from the Pentagon. We'll get rid of essentially the pension system that is in place now for those who serve more than 20 years and replace it with a 401k system. I know that you've been quoted as saying that it's economically the only way to go. Can you make the case for making this drastic of a change?
Well, it first of all brings the military into alignment with the rest of the world. In 1986, all federal employees went to this system outside of the military. The private sector has moved away from defined benefit plans into defined contribution plans. And there are some real advantages to doing it in this fashion. Number one, you can give retirement benefits to those who serve less than 20 years. And right now, it's all or nothing. And 75% of the military leaves between the ages of 20 and 25, so they get no pension benefit whatsoever for their service to their country. Second thing you can do is you can really tailor the retirement benefit to the kinds of service someone provides. And we know that some Americans are brave enough to put themselves in the line of fire in combat, and others do not. And this gives some flexibility to the military in meeting those different services that the country receives. One
of the things that happens, though, in the private sector in these cases is if you change the way benefits are going to be distributed, you sort of grandfather in everybody who's already in the system and say, we're going to do this going forward. In other words, if you came to the company and you cut a deal and said, I'm going to be hired and there are the benefits I'm going to get, and you agree and there's a contract and you handshake and you start working at a place, it's generally the accepted practice that you got to live by that if you can. But the new people maybe have a different way going forward. Would that be the way it would be done in the military?
Yeah, well, you certainly hit one of the toughest questions, which is how do you get from here to there? Even if you agree that you have to have a retirement system that's built for the 21st century, you have made agreements with people, and people have started their careers with certain expectations, and it's very difficult to make those transitions. My expectation is this would look a lot like the transition in 1986, where the two retirement systems ran side by side for quite a while, where federal employees were given an option to opt into the new system if they want to, or could remain in the old one for the rest of their careers. And how that gets done affects not only the career paths of the individuals, but also how much in the end it costs the Pentagon.
You're at the American Action Forum right now. There's a lot of Republican campaigns out there gearing up, hiring people. You've served on a campaign as an economic advisor in the past. Any chance we'll see you again in that capacity?
I am staying firmly in my seat at the American Action Forum.
Wise man.
I learned a few things last time. I have no intention of doing anything other than what I'm doing right now.
Well, I wonder, from your experience, what you think about the idea of maybe a Paul Ryan entering the race, and what it would mean to the race that such a specific plan would be out there being discussed as far as budget cutting.
Well, I think it means a couple things. Number one, it would introduce into the race a man who has ascended in Washington on the basis of his ideas. He doesn't have an enormous political network. He doesn't have seniority. Right. He's simply got ideas, and it's a tribute to the power of those ideas that people now know who Paul Ryan is. The second thing it says is that, he's the one who has crafted a plan that addresses America's most pressing problem, which is a rising debt that threatens our economy, threatens our national security. The Pentagon has said that debt is our largest national security threat, and also threatens our obligation to give our children the life that we inherited. So he's got the only plan out there that does that. And third thing is, and that's the bad news, because he's got a plan, he's a target.
Right.
And he would have to deal with those attacks, but in the end, it's always better to have something than nothing, and I think that would benefit him.
No, the president is going to have a plan, though. We're hearing that the plan will be unveiled sometime after Labor Day.
So as he figures out what it is.
And he won't.
He figured it out 5 times in 2009. He gave the speech. He gave it another 4 times in 2010. So we've seen 9 major announcements of a speech on how to create jobs, and this is just number 10. So all these plans, I'm sure, will be great.
Okay, I guess my question is that there's been talk that there may be some big deal that could take place where you reform the tax code. Do you think that there is any appetite out there for Republicans to make a deal like that at this point? Could it actually be done before 2012, or are we just going to be in neutral from here until the next election?
That's a really hard question, so let me try to evade it.
See, he has worked on campaigns.
The conventional wisdom is there's no way you make a deal before an election. On the other hand, if we continue to follow our conventional path, we are going to run right off the edge of a cliff. And so something's got to change.
All right, let me ask
changes in this committee, that'd be great. I'd like to see a big tax reform that allows us to grow, raise their taxes more fairly. That's long overdue, and so I hope that happens.
Oh, well, let me rephrase it this way then. How long can we go with the status quo without a major change? I mean, can it wait until 2013 before we have a major change in the way we budget and the way we have entitlements?
No. We already have a gross debt to GDP ratio that's over 90%. Now, no one cares about that, except that that's the line that history shows says you grow more slowly, about a percentage point more slowly, and we need to grow and have jobs. It's the line above which you are much more likely to have a Greek-style sovereign debt crisis. And we have a lot of the characteristics of places that get in trouble. We borrow a lot short-term, so if interest rates go up, we're in trouble. We have a lot of debts we don't really understand, like state and local pensions. The mortgages are still not clear. So we have a lot of characteristics of a country that gets in trouble, and we shouldn't pretend we're immune from the laws of arithmetic or economics. We should fix this right now.
So, look, you do understand it. I mean, you've been looking at spreadsheets and studying issues like this forever. As a man who truly has his head wrapped around the seriousness of our debt problem, how worried are you about this union, this republic that we have?
I'm actually quite concerned, terrified. I have spent my whole life worrying about issues like this. I've never seen anything like today, and the debt that we hear so much about largely comes from the entitlement programs, all of which are bleeding red ink. Medicare basically runs a deficit every year of $280 billion. It's an enormous problem, and it's a disservice to the beneficiaries because these programs are going to blow up and they won't be there for future seniors and low-income people. It's a disservice to the economy because the debt threatens our ability to borrow and compete internationally. It's a disservice to our children. And so, this strikes at the heart of everything we consider to be our national pride and core. And I think we need to get serious and fix it.
Right. Douglas Holtz-Eakin, thank you very much for being here in the doomed camp with Mary.
Yeah, sounds like it. Thanks, Doug.
We're doomed.
See ya.